Guys, welcome back to the channel. Here's a compilation of women who regret having kids part 2.
I consider myself someone that stands 10 toes down on the fact that I regret motherhood. It's like I don't regret my daughter, I regret the role.
I think people are rubbed the wrong way about it because most moms feel that way.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to say it.
There is an anxiety that I have developed having a child that never lived in me before at all. The fear of even when she's not with me and I don't have to be selfless. I'm still thinking about, is somebody going to hurt her? Is an earthquake gonna happen? A mother is like who I am, like at my core. Because of that, it consumes a lot of my thoughts and I fucking hate that.
I need space from my child in order to be a good parent. I can play as much as a 34-year-old woman can play.
Yeah.
But like feeling guilty about that too. Like I chose to be a mother. You're supposed to love every part.
One day she's not going to want to play
She's
with
not
you.
going to want to play. You're going to wish you played. No, I won't.
I'm going to say something that will make some people upset. I think we need to normalize regretting having your children. I'm a therapist and I work with kids, teens, young adults, as well as parents. And there are so many parents who have been vulnerable enough with me in their therapy sessions to admit that they regret having their children. Now, before you shame those parents, these are really, really good parents. Now, these aren't all parents that I work with. It's just a emotion that does come up in therapy that I don't think really gets talked about, because if they were to say some of these words out loud or to other people, they would get shamed for it. And don't get me wrong, these are amazing parents. They're great parents. They love their children. They would do anything for their children. They would never give their children up. But it's just talking about the emotion of regretting having them.
I would much rather regret not having children than regret having children later in life.
A book that seriously shifted my perspective on this is called Regretting Motherhood. I listened to it on Audible, and as a intentional non-parent, I think it's really great that this conversation is being had prior to having children. Everybody featured in that book had already had children. While the sample of the women in this book is very culturally limited, in my opinion, for me it would still be a soft recommendation, especially for anyone who is coming from a culture where motherhood is just absolutely expected of you. The women featured in this book definitely were. And reading this book, you realize that the amount of women who feel this way but cannot outwardly admit it to anyone except to do so anonymously is massive. Additionally, kids understand exactly how you feel and if you regret them. Children are by and large intuitive when it comes to the feelings of their parents. We by and large underestimate kids and underestimate that specific hurt.
Not everyone's gonna admit to this, but I hate being a mom.
Okay, so while I may not feel the same way that this mom does about motherhood, I can empathize with how she's feeling. I feel like there are a lot of reasons why a lot of women hate motherhood. And a lot will not admit it because everyone's in a competition to have the most perfect, ideal, great, wonderful life and be the perfect mom. I think it's partly the expectations that we as a society put on women. It's in general, but then when women become mothers, there are these expectations that are put on us as mothers that fathers don't have. Almost every mom I know would rather be a dad. No one expects dads to be up all night doing the diaper changes or handling any tantrums or doing the appointments for the doctors or the school stuff or any of it. If a dad simply just exists in the same house as his kids, he's given the award for the best dad of the fucking century. It's the moms who have to pick up all the slack, who are expected to. Moms are never expected to take a break, never expected to take a sick day. Moms are not allowed to have a man cold and get taken care of. And having all this put on you and you're not expected to ask for help. And when you do ask for help, you're like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been a mother if you need help. Or whatever other snarky, shitty comment people make about moms wanting to take a break. When I go on a vacation by myself every year, and like clockwork, people, if I post it to my Facebook, people are like, where are your kids? They have a father. He knows their allergies. He ain't gonna call and bother me while I'm on my vacation. Most women don't have a village. It's like the village ups and runs away when you have a baby. I've seen this happen to almost every mom I know. I think about all the people I know, like close to me, that are mothers. I'm one of the only ones that has a support system that I can depend on. I'm one of the only ones that gets to take breaks. I feel extremely fortunate, but that should be a norm. That shouldn't be the exception to the rule. You've got a lot of burnt out mothers who are at the end of their mental ropes, with no room to breathe, no room to regroup and recharge. We end up with resentful, hurt, bitter moms who hate motherhood, who don't think they should have been mothers. And it's not just because of a personal issue with them. This is a much bigger issue in a much bigger picture. And I really think we as a society need to address that. How mothers have such little help. Mothers have to suffer in silence. Because if they admit to feeling defeated, they get this shitty pushback. Oh, you're a horrible mother. What if your kids see this? If we were supporting mothers like we should, maybe they wouldn't come online so upset. Maybe they wouldn't be so burnt out and touched out. These are women begging for help, and we need to help them.
Are you actually curious why I don't like motherhood? I'd love to tell you. Because society thinks that maternity leave is a vacation. Because people think that stay-at-home moms don't work. Because childcare is astronomically high. Because we don't think that moms work, but we expect families to pay for the childcare for their children as if it's actually work. That men actually make more when they become fathers and women make less if they even stay in the workforce. That moms like you have a different experience of motherhood, so think that they can go judge other moms for having a different experience of motherhood. Because I'm expected to disappear because I'm a mom now and not have any dreams. And I'm judged for having dreams when I finally realize I'm a human and I'm still allowed to have them. And I think that's it for now, but please get the fuck off my page.
What is something that you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
That a lot of parents out there regret having kids. A lot of women have been sold on the idea that being a mother is everything, and that if you don't have kids, then what good are you? And then once they have kids, it's not all flowers and roses like they've been told. Nobody tells the truth about the real costs in having kids. Babies are born sick and they have ailments. Partners can't handle it and they bail. And then it's a great disappointment that the child grows up to be something totally different than the idea that you have in your head. And once the resentment sets in, they tend to lash out at people who chose not to have children. Mostly out of jealousy because they have the freedom to do things while you still have a child attached to your hip. So if you're considering having kids, think long and hard, because having a child is a lifelong commitment. It doesn't end when the kid turns 18. It lasts a lifetime.
A mom admitted online that she loves her 3 kids, but regrets having them. She posted to Reddit recalling how much her life had changed since having her first child 12 years ago. She felt like her life had ended. Now she likens herself to a full-time nanny, chef, and maid for 3 little humans. She doesn't feel like her kids show her any respect, and that they aren't even that fond of her, and her husband isn't helping matters any. She says she grew up with a bad mom, so now she overcompensates by always trying to take the best care of her home and her family, and she always feels underappreciated. She's not alone in these feelings. Studies have shown that around 1 in 10 parents regret having children, and they suffer in silence because there's a huge stigma attached to this regret. While many women are aware of the physical changes that can occur in order for them to become a mom, many women are not prepared for the overwhelming burden of becoming the primary caretaker for the family. Not to mention the fact that many stay-at-home parents face isolation, loneliness, loss of identity, and depression. The primary parent should have time for self-care, self-discovery, and time away from the responsibilities of being a parent. And the partner needs to step up and make the entire family a priority, which includes the mother. The key is finding balance, which isn't always easy. Hang in there, mama. You're not alone.
Good morning. You've probably heard about the infamous Regretful Parents subreddit, but I just wanted to share one of the posts with you guys, especially those of you who are on the fence about whether or not you want to have children. So here we go. I haven't been happy since before he was born. No tragedy here, no special needs kid or abusive spouse. I was a fence sitter, and every single person who was a fence sitter I knew would go on and on about how glad they were about having kids, how rewarding and fulfilling and full of love it all was. It's just not. I've never been crazy about my kid and honestly resent just how badly he impacted my life. I don't hate him, but I don't really like him as a person either. If he was a neighbor kid or something, I would avoid him. The only feelings I get when he's around is frustration, annoyance, and deep, deep regret. I don't enjoy any of it. I let myself be talked into a child because my husband wanted one so bad. But of course, it was my life that took the biggest hit. This isn't some new mom venting. My son is a teenager now, and I have never not once ever enjoyed raising him. Some parents have different stages where they can kind of connect with their kids, but I never did. I've spent years and years unhappy, all to please a man. Let me make this clear that there is no man on this planet I would ever have a child for again. It is not one thing you do for your spouse. It's the everyday grind. I put his happiness ahead of my own and have paid for it every single day since. It is not fulfilling. I'm angry at the years I could have spent on myself, getting ahead in my education and career, but I couldn't afford that and a kid. Looking back, would I say it was all worth it? Not even close. I'm angry and resentful, and none of this ish was worth it. I wasted my best, most productive years of my life drowning in misery, and for what? A kid I don't even like? If you're a fence sitter, make sure this is what you really want. I'm not interested in advice or to hear from childless people about how terrible they feel for my kid. Please and thank you. This, ladies, men always want kids. They want to give you kids, but they don't want to take care of the kids. It is very, very rare that they do, so make sure that you get a dog with them first. Also, notice how you don't really hear that much about people who were fence sitters and never had kids, like complain about not having kids. It's always the people who are fence sitters who had kids who regret having kids.
Here's what people had to say in the comments. I wish people had this conversation more. I tell my 25-year-old sister all the time I wish someone would have told me how mentally strong you gotta be. I regret having children before knowing myself and being financially stable. I wish I had enjoyed the time it was just me more. Thanks for saying this. I am so vocal about this because I never heard these conversations before I became a mom. These conversations are so important. I'm glad more people are talking about this, as someone who doesn't have or want kids at all. People always make me feel crazy for it. I have 5 kids. After knowing how hard it is, if I could go back I would not have any. I love them all, but my mental health is in the trash. I greatly regret ever having a kid. I lost my body, my career, my hope, and my marriage. If you end up having a special needs child, you're on your own.
Oh wow, this conversation needs to be had more. I appreciate the fact that women are speaking up, coming out, ranting, pointing out their frustration. I appreciate that. But they should stop making it look like they were forced, they were held at gunpoint to have kids. It's the decision you made, so live by it. I understand motherhood can be exhausting and overwhelming, but it's the decision you made all by yourself. Don't allow anyone to talk into having kids when you know you are not ready to. Commented that how come men are not coming out speaking on how they hate fatherhood, on how it's hard to provide for their kids, how they are shuffling in between jobs just to provide for their family. And someone replied him and said, "Men want kids the way kids want pets." Funny. If motherhood and fatherhood is not the same at all, it's not even something to debate about. Motherhood is very hard. It's not something one person can do. Like according to one of the mothers, she said something that is very that resonates with us here, and is very common in this part of the world, in western part of Nigeria. That she said she doesn't the motherhood is very easy for her because she has community of people that help her around. Raising a child, you need people. You don't just need one or two, you need people. You need a whole village to raise a child. Here in the eastern part of the world, we understand that very well. Right from the time of conception, we believe that pregnant women are not allowed to stay by themselves. They need people around, people that can assist them around with house chores, with feeding, with so many things, until the point where you will deliver your child. Even when you deliver, you have people coming around to visit. Even your mom will come for Mogo. There's something we call Mogo, where your mother will come and take care of you and your newborn baby, right from the time of birth till the period of 3 to 6 months. We call it Omogo. Your mother will be there, not just your mother and some of your siblings. They will be around, maybe 1 or 2 will be around to assist with house chores. As a new mom, you're not allowed to do anything. Your job is to sleep, eat, and breastfeed your child. It's the period of 3 to 6 months, up onto the period where you feel that you are fit, you're okay to take care of your child by yourself. If everybody goes about ranting how they hate motherhood, how they regret having kids, how they don't want to have kids and all that, reproduction will end with us, life will end with us. But if you must have kids, please be sure you want them and you have a great support system already in place. If not, my sisters, you will regret it over and over again. Guys, please come to the end of today's video reaction. Hope you're able to learn one or two like I have. See you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.